I do have a funny story about how I met Jadrian, which was in art class.
Yeah.
But his first homework assignment was he created something called like the friend test or the friend quiz, where he gave everyone in his class, all people he had just met, like a multiple choice test on just random things, and based on your score you were going to be his best friend. And I got to see a little bit of his art, which is like all black and gray anime edgy stuff.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and he was wearing Doc Martens in all black, and
Hell yeah.
I just judged him completely, and I said out loud to the class, I was like, I'm going to ace this test. I'm going to be his best friend. And I did.
Yeah,
Straight A's.
you got a really good score.
Class.
What were some of the questions?
It was kind of a complicated. It had a scoring system, and there were different sections that were weighted like a normal test. So one was about anime, one was about video games, one was about music, and one was about philosophy or some shit. And depending on how I broke down my own personality at the time, I weighted each of those sections accordingly.
But yeah, I do like how I just like looked at you and judged you and was like, I think I know who this guy is.
And it worked.
And it worked. I could tell we were going to be friends.
All right. Hello, everybody. We're Bad Dubs, and joining us this week is Robin, longtime friend of mine, new to Darian and Austin. You guys have never met.
But a friend of the pod.
Of course.
Friend of the pod.
We can say that.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah. This week, we're going to be covering Paprika. Great movie by Kon Satoshi, who also did Perfect Blue and Millennial Actress. And we covered Perfect Blue, or we watched it. We haven't fully done that episode yet, but very similar movies. Robin, you've seen Perfect Blue?
I have not. It's been on my list for a while.
I honestly like Paprika a little bit more.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
Yeah, I know everyone talks about Perfect Blue all the time, but Paprika is more fun. They're very similar, though.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
See, that's the difference between me and you is I don't watch anime for fun.
What do you watch it for, then?
This is business. This is all serious, okay?
Wait,
I don't want a fun movie.
I think Robin should be the host of this podcast. I think he takes it more seriously than we do.
Yeah, that resonates with me, Robin. It definitely feels like a chore.
You son of a bitch. God damn it.
It's kind of a job.
Yeah, slot that in there.
This motherfucker.
I'm glad you guys bullied your friend into watching anime.
He asked to be on it. That's the fucked up thing.
I didn't. I said I could produce it for you guys.
That's the same as asking to be on our podcast. It was just friend code.
I was going to say, there's a classic tweet that goes around that says, I've been peer pressured into watching anime more than I have been peer pressured into doing drugs. And
that's so true.
if I get told to watch Jujutsu Kaisen again, my head might explode.
Shit, I'm actually one of those guys. I have done that so many times to people.
Specifically with Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah, I'm like, second season Jujutsu Kaisen, please watch it. It's so good.
And now, boys and girls, it's showtime!
Paprika is by Madhouse. We've seen a couple movies by Madhouse at this point. It was made in 2006, again by Kon Satoshi. And the music is by Susumu Hirasawa. And I only mention it this time because I freaking love the music in this movie. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. But I'm going to go ahead and start with a quick summary and setting the stage. So I would say this movie is about a hot girl with a 50s haircut that bounces around people's dreams, helping them solve some shit. She's named after a spice called paprika, which turns out to be ground up bell peppers, which I never knew till a few months ago. How's that for a summary?
Is that what that is?
That's what that is.
Yeah, isn't that fucking crazy?
I think it's Hungarian for the word pepper, like
Well, I'll be damned.
paprika.
Paprika takes place in modernish Japan. The movie's actually almost about 20 years old, which is kind of insane to think about. It doesn't feel like a 20-year-old movie.
No, I would agree with that. This was my first time, and I started on the phone, and it was good enough that I moved it to the actual big screen.
You can't watch pieces of art on a tiny screen. It's just unacceptable.
I moved it to the big screen.
For context, Robin, Darian watched Miyazaki's Porco Rosso while walking in a park,
Jesus.
looking at her phone.
It's an absolute
busy
disgrace.
lady.
You need
know
to commit
how-
harakiri.
Yeah, do that on the pod and get a bunch of views.
All I did was a balancing board after I got it on the big screen.
Jeez.
Let's not talk about this. I'm getting upset right now. I don't want to hear about a fucking balancing board. All right.
It doesn't. Anyways, go on.
In the movie Paprika, a device called the DC Mini has been invented by a genius known as Tokita. And the DC Mini is this thing that you attach to your head, kind of looks like a hairband, that allows people to see your dreams on a screen and enter your dreams and share dreams. So you could have two people that are sharing a dream together. Pretty crazy technology. Tokita, who I just mentioned, is a genius and he has the spirit of a child, but he's trapped in the body of a Michelin man, big fucking guy.
He's
Yeah,
a doughy
he's thick.
boy.
He's doughy.
Yeah.
He's thick. He's real thick.
It's a weird choice to make him that large. Didn't quite play. I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be funny or not. Like, is this
Seriously.
being played for
Yeah.
a laugh or?
I saw an Instagram reel that apparently Japan has a fat tax where you pay higher taxes based on your BMI.
Whoa.
No, not the elevator. I was on my way to see you, which is why I got stuck. I have to tell you what happened. It's gone. The DC Mini is gone.
We're introduced to him because he's so big, he is trapped in an elevator.
I think that's the fault of civil engineering, though. Bring that man to America, he'll fit right in.
We didn't realize it because it was dubbed, but like in the Japanese dub, it's like obvious that he's not a Japanese person. Like this is just an American character.
The DC Mini? Well, how can it just be gone?
Apparently it was stolen this morning.
This device originally created for the purpose of helping people by allowing psychiatrists to see their subconscious play out in real time. People can enter your mind and manipulate you and fuck with you. So it's a great technology that has a lot of potential benefits, but a lot of risks as well.
Yeah, don't they say that they can like cure diseases by going into people's dreams?
Yeah, which I thought was interesting because, all right, side note, don't get mad at me. I love Dr. Joe, and he's about like healing yourself through your mind.
Who's Dr. Joe?
I fucking hear you typing right now.
I'm looking him up.
Oops.
Dr.
Oh,
Joe
I know this
Dispenza.
Yeah, no, he's great. What?
No, we'll save it for another episode.
It's not about wealth. It's who you become.
Dr. Joe Dispenza is all about, like, through meditation and breath work and like changing your mind and your personality actually changes how you inhabit your body, and certain sicknesses they've done the studies will just like disappear.
Just to be clear, Dr. Joe Dispenza, his doctorate is in chiropractic from a private university called Life University. So
we
take the doctorate with a grain of salt.
Motherfucker, I said side note. We can come back and argue about this shit another time.
The Wikipedia for Life University, one of the subheads is anti-vaccine sentiment. Like that's on the Wikipedia for the universities.
Okay, actually, that's kind of crazy. That's actually pretty weird.
There appears to be an additional problem.
What is it?
I hadn't programmed the access codes for restricted use of the DC Mini yet.
Chiba, please translate.
That means that whoever stole the DC Mini can connect to a psychotherapy machine anytime from any place they want. And they can use the data stored in the Mini to tap into the minds of the people who provided that data.
I understand. It's most urgent that we hurry.
The DC Minis, they're still prototypes. They haven't been publicly released. They're still developing them and kind of thinking about the implications of these devices. But before they're even released, one of the prototypes is stolen. The people working at the company begin having hallucinations where the dream world and the real world begin to kind of blend together, leading to like a chaotic catastrophe. People are dreaming and jumping out of windows because in the dream they're having this fantastical experience. And Chiba, who is our main heroine, she also helped to create the DC Mini with Tokita, the Michelin Man, and together with Detective, what's his name? Konikawa are trying to track down who took the prototype.
Is the detective trying to do that? I thought the detective was like on some other shit. I think his plot, as far as I can tell, it's completely separate than our main plot. We've got the situation with the private clinic that's developing dream technology. And then the only reason we know about the cop is that he's one of the people they're testing it on, where Chiba will go in with her Paprika avatar and help him analyze this cop's dreams. It is because he has this anxiety and he keeps having this recurring dream where it always ends with a man in slow motion having been shot, falling on the ground, which we learn is the dead body of an investigation he is in the middle of. But what I thought was strange is that investigation never seems to tie into the other plot of the dream device headband thing. It's just like this other separate thing. And maybe we can get back to it because maybe I missed something at the end. But
I thought that was weird too. I mean, I think it brings up a larger point about the movie, which is a strong point about the movie, is that this movie is about dreams melding with reality. The pacing of it exactly feels like that. Kind of like Perfect Blue too, where the audience is questioning their reality. Perfect Blue is a movie about a girl who's pretty much going insane and doesn't know what's real and what's not. Paprika is about diving into dreams. The first time I saw it as a kid, I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. This time, I kind of got it a little bit more, but it still felt very much like a dream.
On that note, I may have toked a little before starting it, and I had to like stop it and stop toking. Because I was like, I feel like I've taken a drug that I wasn't expecting. I don't know what's happening. I can't follow anything.
I'm imagining
the balance board.
Yeah, I'm imagining you on your balance board, toking, watching it on an iPhone. I'm just getting increasingly angry.
I didn't watch it on my phone on the balance board. I watched it on the big screen.
Okay. Well, actually, this would be a fun movie to toke to.
Yeah, I watched it with Liv, and she said the same thing. She said she would have enjoyed it a lot more if she was high.
But I feel like if you were high watching it, you wouldn't actually know what's going on. Darren, did you pick up anything from the movie?
I wasn't very high at all when I started it. I was just like a tiny bit, and I was like, I can be none bit for this movie.
Yeah, well, that's why Liv and I were thinking it'd be better high, because it's like there's not much of a plot. Like, there's no drama in the movie. Like, there's no relationships that develop.
I think there's a plot. It's kind of Ghost in the Shell, like, you know, there's this weird puppet master from behind kind of manipulating people's minds and making them do terrible things, and they're on a mission to find out who's doing this stuff.
Yeah, we find someone stole the DC Mini, and the plot seems to be find out who stole the DC Mini and why.
Yeah.
A lot of
Good
weird
summary.
But I gotta say, you don't find out much about that for the first 2/3 of the movie.
Yeah.
So I think I'm on Austin's side with this one, where I didn't think there was much of a plot.
I'm curious, Jade, what you think about the ending when we get to it.
It's been a busy day running around in someone else's dream.
You look tired. Want me to check in on that dream so you can get a good night's sleep?
Chiba, the main hero, is also Paprika, and Paprika is like an alt version of her in the dream world. And she even looks different. She has red hair.
She's cool, Chiba. Chiba's like
Super
a
cool.
uptight bitch character, you know?
Yeah.
And,
Emphasize that B just a little bit more.
Well, I'm not saying I think that. It's like the standpoint of the screenplay is that's kind of her archetype.
Yeah.
And then her...
Tsundere,
yeah. And then, Paprika, she's like flirty and fun and cute. And like,
Chiba's got a tight bun, and Paprika lets it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The two of them represent a mullet.
I think that's a spoiler for the end.
The dialectic of these two characters, the synthesis is just Joe Dirt, who walks off into the sunset at the end.
Let me solve your dreams.
Which one you want to see?
I'm sorry. I just don't like movies much.
Well, Paprika is going around and helping people in their dreams, right?
Yeah.
We don't really know why in the beginning. She's almost like a benevolent being that is accessing people's dreams and solving their trauma.
She's like helping them try to analyze why certain things are happening, but also like making the dreams kind of a safe place. Like the first time we're introduced to her is the opening of the movie, which is like zero context, is a dream of the detective, and each segment of the dream like it becomes increasingly like more and more of a genre film, and so it'll be like it'll start off as like a Greatest Show on Earth style movie, and then as soon as it gets a little scary, Paprika will help sort of guide him out of that dream and into another dream, which the next one then is I think a Tarzan movie. And then it's like a gritty noir film. And then it's a cop procedural or whatever. And she sort of helps guide the dreamer through those different stages, at least with the detective. And the movie employs a really fun use of match cut to string these all together. So, for instance, like to get from one scenario to another, somebody might raise a baseball bat or something. And then in the next shot, the hand will be coming down and it's holding a banjo and it's being struck over somebody's head. So it's like making this match cut fluid motion between the two worlds. And that technique is used kind of over and over again throughout the movie to connect the dream world with either the next dream world or later reality itself.
I think it did a good job kind of showing how anything could happen. Like it's super fluid. It's like all up to the imagination. As much as you can imagine, you can make it happen right now.
Believe it.
Yeah, believe it.
Thinking about that, this movie influenced Inception, which I did not know until in this opening scene. He's in the hotel and he's running down the hotel hallway and the carpet starts to bundle up under his feet and he's like, you know, pushing it away. And I think that's a direct scene that's in Inception.
Not to mention one of his previous films, Perfect Blue, Darren Aronofsky ripped off so hard when he made Black Swan that he actually had to buy the U.S. distribution rights for Perfect Blue in order to make Black Swan because he'd ripped it off so much.
Well, see, Austin, even big name directors like anime. So
what's your point?
Get on board, buddy. get on board.
Is that peer pressure again?
Nolan sucks though. That guy he just like fucks up a Rubik's Cube and then like solves it for the audience slowly over the course of 2 hours.
And then is like, yo, Hans Zimmer, make this sound.
Everybody's wives are dead. Can you imagine being Christopher Nolan's wife?
He wants her to die so badly.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I hate all the live action remakes of the Disney movies. I think it's just disrespectful to animation as a genre. And I think that there are certain movies, films, ideas, piece of media that require animation over a live action version of it. And using those match cuts, using dreams to warp reality in this movie is a great use of the animation medium, and using match cuts, which is, yes, a film technique, but also a way to blend the background, blend the context of the scene. I think Inception did it well, and I think as technology builds with movies and TV shows, we're able to warp that reality a bit better. But I think the blending between the real world and the dream world was so successful here because it's all animation.
I think that's a great point. We've actually talked about this before. What are the strengths of the medium of animation? Like, have you seen Fooly Cooly, Robin? That's something that can't really exist as a film. For that same reason, the strength of animation really is apparent in Paprika, like you're saying. And I think there are rare occasions where it works, but mostly it does not work. Like, it doesn't work to try to act like an anime character either.
It
that
falls flat.
No
it's just a watered down version of what it originally was. And like Austin said, Nolan sucks. So,
so there.
He's got some fun movies. But
did Inception do the match cutting thing?
Yeah, not specifically, if I remember. But obviously I saw the hotel scene in Paprika and was like...
Even just the idea of like having agents go in, you know, I mean, I guess they're incepting ideas in people's dreams, but there's something very similar going on here where you're like doing therapy by diving into somebody's dream.
Yeah. I was kind of confused on Paprika herself. She's gone kind of rogue and is just helping people because she wants to.
It's unclear what even the technology that allows her to be a separate consciousness from the uptight lady. Shiba. Yeah. Like sometimes in the real world, she'll look in the mirror or the reflection of a window and she'll see her Paprika self, or she'll have an intuition, kind of like how in Ghost in the Shell, they'll talk about like, oh, my ghost is whispering to me. Here we've got like Paprika who will be like, watch out. And it'll be like right before something's going to fall on her. So they are like in the same mind, but there's I don't think they ever explain to us how they split.
I agree, because I'm not sure, maybe you guys can clear it up, but after that initial opening scene where Paprika is guiding the detective Konakawa through his dreams, he wakes up, takes off the DC Mini, and Paprika's in the room with him?
Right.
So is that Chiba in cosplay, or is that actually Paprika?
I mean, to the movie's credit, I do admire how willing it is to not explain a lot of the technology. At one point, we have people going into waking dream state by opening a web browser.
Oh, that part is fucking weird.
To take them into the dream realm. And like that scene opens too with him at his like police department. He's like kind of checking around, making sure nobody's looking.
Yeah.
And it's like, was he just passed out at his computer for 20 minutes after opening that link? Or his eyes rolled back into the back of his head?
He's just staring at a black screen.
Yeah.
So Chiba has an alternate personality. It almost feels like her inner child, especially in the ending, which we can talk about later when we see her inner child. But then also the genius guy, Tokita, he's commonly referred to as a child in an adult body. Is there something there? Is something they're trying to say with obviously this alternate personality of Paprika?
This might take some of the magic out of it, but I saw that there was a article on Substack that talked about Jungian psychology and the movie and dream repression. So I didn't make that up. But apparently a big theme is repressed feelings and memories coming to the surface. I don't think I would have seen it without someone else's, 10-page article on the internet about it, but apparently repression was one of the themes of the movie.
The cop especially. Yeah. It's so funny that his trauma is like, I tried to make a student film and then I never finished it, and then years later one of the guys that was working on it with me died, and now he's afraid to see movies. Fuck movies.
I will never see a movie.
Yeah.
And the number 17.
And the number 17. Yeah.
You know what's funny too? There's a part in the movie where the director references his own movies that he's made. There's like movie posters of Tokyo Godfathers and Perfect Blue. Is that kind of obnoxious or is that cool?
I was curious if Satoshi Kon knew that he was dying when he made this movie, because this is his last film. Mm-hmm. I haven't bothered to look up how he died, but this
pancreatic cancer.
He did not know he was dying. He only got like a 3 months heads up.
Really? It feels like a movie that you'd make if you knew you were dying. This feels like that last Miyazaki movie, Boy and the Heron. Like Boy and the Heron, like you don't really care about the boy or his like sister, love interest, whatever. Like the plot of that movie, I feel like he's kind of left behind a lot of the drama of his previous films, and he's just like trying to come up with metaphors for how to like sum up his views on his career and Japanese imperialism and just like all the things he's always been playing with, trying to shove it into one metaphor. And this felt similarly, where it's kind of like a love letter to movies by the end of the movie. Like that's the central drama, is like whether this detective can like movies again. And the end, with Paprika's help, he's able to go watch the films of Satoshi Kon in theaters.
I think there might be a little bit more. Oh, God.
Detective Konakawa, what is the action line that clown was talking about?
It's an imaginary shooting line used to place subjects before the camera. Here, the camera mustn't cross over the line. If it does, then the cut can't be matched up. It's reversed. I'll give you a little demonstration. Watch. See what happens? You're facing the opposite direction.
Robin, your point about like adapting anime into movies, this movie interestingly references a lot of film techniques that are not animation techniques, like aperture, depth of field, pan shots. I mean, which are all things that can be like replicated in animation, but like they're specifically, when they talk about movies and when he talks about hating movies and when they talk about the genres that his dreams are falling into, they're not anime genres. They're, if anything, they're kind of almost Western or European genre films.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of emphasis on the technique and direction of live action film.
And what is pan focus?
Well, it's an ability of the camera to create a large depth of field by reducing the aperture so that medium and long range shots are in focus.
You actually like them a lot. The movies.
I thought that was interesting too, about how like it was a exploration of the movies and the medium itself, which I think sort of like backs up the whole like the plot's not that important as much as it is a love letter to anime and storytelling and all that. I think this movie should have been much longer. I think that there are a lot of unexplored things, and it felt really slow, but also really rushed at the same time. Not that I need more explanation, but I needed more to understand the characters and motivations.
I don't know. I felt a little unsatisfied with this movie as well. But I also think this movie feels really relevant in a lot of ways in the themes that it's touching on too. I couldn't help but think of Neuralink or even Mark Zuckerberg, tech billionaires wanting to suck us into like an illusion or like a mass shared illusion, whether that's Neuralink, like actually parallel to Paprika, or social media. Mark Zuckerberg was on some podcast, I think it was Lex Friedman, saying that statistically most Americans have less than 3 friends but need way more, and that the solution to that is to have more interaction with AI.
To like normalize having a relationship with your chat GPT.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had your phone in a dream?
I never have. I've heard of this too, but
I think that flies in the face of Mark Zuckerberg's theory of interaction through technology. I don't think is ever really going to work, because what ends up being meaningful has nothing to do with the technology. No one really dreams of the technology that they're using when they have dreams.
Unless you played Tetris a lot, and then right as you're falling asleep, you start seeing the little things fall. Have you ever had that?
No.
Yes.
That sounds like hell.
It sucks. Yeah, you start like playing fake Tetris in your mind as you're falling asleep. It's really bad.
I spent like a week of my life telling myself every night before I go to bed to imagine World of Warcraft perfectly, so that like I could hopefully have a dream where I'm in the World of Warcraft.
Sick.
Didn't work.
You wanted to lucid dream World of Warcraft instead of just playing World of Warcraft.
I wanted to lucid dream World. That's how deep the addiction ran with me.
That's crazy, man.
Let me get this straight. Are you telling me that the dreams of Tokita and Himaro got incorporated into the dreams of Konakawa?
The DC Mini is hypersensitive. It continues to expand exponentially.
I'm trying to figure out who stole the Apple goggles or whatever, and it's like dead end after dead end. But meanwhile, more and more people are having dream experiences without putting on the headband. We learned that anybody that's ever been a customer or used to train this device is now susceptible to just get tapped into a dream at any moment during the day. Their waking life can just transform into a dream, and it keeps causing people to like go insane and like jump out windows and shit.
Yeah.
So it's just getting worse and worse and worse by the second half of the movie. It's just constantly happening that all of our protagonists keep finding themselves into this dream that increasingly is a collective dream, where it might start off as an individual dream, but then by the end of it, you're joined into this massive parade of oddly like consumer products, refrigerators, microwaves, TVs, dolls, toys.
That's a good point.
Products. And then even the dreamer themselves becomes like an anthropomorphized commodity as well. Like Fat Man gets turned into like a child's robot toy, or one of the guys that initially they suspect might be the hacker or what have you. Turns out he's not. He turns into like a little China doll.
Yeah.
So to get to what you're saying, Jed, I think one thing that during these like sequences, people start like muttering random things, usually like strange, esoteric, just kind of dream speak. It feels kind of Jungian, something like that. But one thing that somebody says, or like a group of people start chanting at one point in one of these dream montages, is like sometimes the effect of like, there will be no ups, no downs, like moderation forever.
No more anger. Our world is happy and mundane.
Happy and mundane, yeah. Especially this coming out in 2006, that felt like the kind of like 90s prescription drug epidemic of just like Zoloft brained everybody. That's just no highs, no lows. Everything's fine. As long as we get to buy stuff. I don't know that the movie's really digging into that, but that at a surface level, I was like, that's interesting that they're all products.
It reminded me of Saving Beauty by Byung-Chul Han.
Yeah.
It kind of, I could see what you're saying too, but it kind of had that feeling. That book is about how everything becomes smooth through the internet or through commodification or capitalism.
It flattens out differences. The differences inhibit the flow of capital. And so the logic of capitalism is to kind of equalize everything and make any sort of transaction, even if it's between two unique things, the transaction needs to be as smooth as possible to increase the amount of transactions that could possibly happen. And that Byung-Chul Han argues that you see this even in the aesthetics of popular art.
Jeff Koons.
Yeah.
Jeff Koons, that his art is emblematic of this, these like balloon animal sculptures that are mass produced. And many of them are also highly reflective. They're chrome. So when you look at them, what you see is yourself reflected back.
Every day is just one big dream.
No more anger. Our world is happy and mundane.
As long as dreams will grow, let's get a little bud and grow a money tree too.
No more anger. Our world is happy and mundane. Touching a little bit into the ending of the movie where someone wants to make the dream world and the real world completely fused together. That to me kind of fits into this theme of making everything fake utopia. Like everyone will be drugged out, kind of deluded in a dream state, but not really living, not really alive to anything, just like subdued.
If there's no flower, there'll never be fruit.
If there's nothing, then there's nothing to do.
You can live in your own TV.
If you're unhappy, let the politicians know. Book an eyeball and pop in a vote.
I am the Emperor, chosen by the One!
Yeah, but whose one? My one? Your one?
The question is asked several times by the doctors that are like looking into this and investigating it. If there's a collective dream going on here, like whose dream then?
Mark Zuckerberg's dream.
Yeah.
No, I think those two blended the thing you brought up, Jade, and what Austin you were saying. The techno dystopia aspect of it, but also the collective consumerism reminds me of the internet now, where memes are cross-cultural because everything's been pushed into the same pipeline, if you will.
Yeah.
To where we all understand this type of stuff, this type of jokes, way of communicating, all that. And I feel like we're seeing that smoothness happen in culture.
Yeah.
I go to any major city in the world, and to me, it just always feels like New York City. I went to Hong Kong in 2019, which was awesome, but my number one feeling was like, oh, it feels like a blending of Chinese elements, London, which makes sense historically, but also everything. It just feels like New York City over and over and over again.
Yeah, there's like a homogeneity to like culture that like you can find a twee vinyl cafe in every metropolitan city on the planet.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, you'll find it in Hong Kong, you'll find it in El Paz, Bolivia. Like,
we found it in Tijuana, Mexico when we went.
Exactly.
It was like they had the fucking like glass planners and stupid wire geometric shape bullshit and floating shelves.
It goes to this like shared dream. It's kind of the same thing where they're all experiencing the same collective dream of all these things being pushed into each other. And it's kind of similar to the internet that we experience. And it's all this remix, mishmash stuff shoved together. And then we all ingest the same blended media.
Totally. Yeah. And what I think is disturbing that this movie touches on too is that who's the overlord of this connecting ether or whatever the material that brings all this together, the dream world, the illusion, the internet. Who's the overlord of it? Like Mark Zuckerberg, like he's the one that created these platforms, or Sam Altman who creates ChatGPT, like the context at which we combine together is someone created, which is terrifying because Mark Zuckerberg's a goddamn freak.
Well, in this movie, you know, to spoil the ending, it was Professor X.
Yeah, it totally was.
So then, you're punishing Dr. Tokita.
In a world of inhumane reality, there is actually only one humane sanctuary left, Doctor, and that can be found in the comfort of a simple dream.
On that note, why don't we go ahead and get to the ending of this movie? There are two villains, Chairman Inouye, who is the chairman of the company that's producing the DC minis, and
chairman of the board,
and Dr. Onai, who I don't quite fully understand his role in the movie.
An underling. He's like the right hand guy of the bad guy, right?
Yeah,
and he's got a crush on Chiba / Paprika.
He's obsessed with her. He's a horny boy. Chairman Inouye, Dr. Xavier, essentially wants to merge the dream world with reality permanently and to be the supreme leader of both. He wants to be Zuckerberg.
He seemed to have a complex about not being able to walk.
When he enters the dream world, he becomes huge and he can walk again.
He even says, as he's like becoming giant, he goes, "Look, my legs work. I'm perfect again."
Yeah. And rather than invest in like, I don't know, electronic legs or fancy prosthetics, he's like, no, I will destroy reality itself. I will blend the dream world with the real world so that I may walk again.
I think the reason we've had trouble talking about the movie without like skipping ahead is I think no plot happens for the first hour, and then the whole plot happens in the last 30 minutes.
It's a very chaotic ending. Paprika is jumping through different dream sequences. It's fantastical, action-packed. I like the ending. It gets really weird, too. At one point...
Enough, Osanai. Please stop it. You're just a spoiled, jealous prince and a pervert as well.
You have such a bad habit of trying to manipulate people with your words.
And you think you can manipulate people with power?
In here? Yes.
When it's revealed that it's Chairman Dude, creepy right-hand man has Paprika pinned on a table like a butterfly being preserved behind glass. Because in the previous sequence, she was a butterfly. We're talking about how he's always wanted her, rubbing his hand up her thigh and then over her breasts. And then finally, he puts his palm on her pelvis. And the animation is so disgusting.
I love you, Paprika. I love you.
He like pushes through her pelvis and it liquefies, and then he runs his hand up.
I love you just the way you are.
Through her body, over her face, until his hand pops out the top, and it's like the Paprika skin has peeled open like a cocoon, and inside is Chiva or whatever.
I hated that scene.
That's a crazy scene. My dopamine receptors have been so blown out from consistent video games and anime, but I felt that one.
Darian's melting right now on camera.
I hated it so much. I had to take my headphones off and do this, like hands over my eyes. Like, what am I watching?
See, that's the moment where, like, I wish the movie was longer or something, because Onai was important in the first, like, 15 minutes of the movie, and then you don't see him for an hour, and then he's doing this, like, torture porn scene on her.
Totally.
Yeah. That scene, it's kind of like a metamorphosis, because she's a butterfly. She has wings. Because in the previous sequence, she's flying around trying to solve the end of the world, or the beginning of the dream world. She's captured him and she's cut open by the weird hand melting, fusing thing. And then out of her pops Chiba.
Which I took to mean that that's her kind of almost more authentic self. The Paprika skin is, if we're using Jungian terms, that's her like persona. That's the mask that she wears to be able to inhabit a certain part of what might be part of herself, but she can't do it without the mask.
But what's weird is that her revealing her real self is instigated by sexual trauma. I don't really understand that.
Yeah. I've seen it in animes, and I've never understood the reason that anime creators go that route. Because there's besides the carefree energy of Paprika, there's not too much like sexual energy going on in the movie in general. And then there's that scene.
Yeah.
Another reason why it felt like a conglomeration of Satoshi Kon's movies, like he's going out with a little compilation of all of his hits, because one of his movies, Perfect Blue, a major plot of that is sexual violence. The movie takes it very seriously. It is very much a movie about the sexualization of young women and the commodification of their bodies. And in this movie, I feel like similarly, it's like, I don't know that theme was explored at all until that moment. So yeah, like you said, it doesn't feel earned.
Yeah, I agree.
It felt like wrong movie.
Yeah.
How did this end up in here?
Chairman Inui becomes a giant humanoid figure destroying the city.
What is that thing, Shima?
It's our chairman!
I am reborn! I've been rejuvenated!
Paprika becomes a small child and then starts to suck him up and increasingly grow larger and more mature.
Overall, I think a very disjointed movie. But I like the themes. I like a lot of the individual scenes, but I still don't feel like it all fit together.
Yeah,
sorry, Satoshi.
Yeah.
That's like a thing that he does. Did any of you guys watch Paranoia Agent?
Mm-mm.
It was a short series that was on Adult Swim. And it's a very similar thing where it's like every episode is almost a different story. It kind of ties together. But I was reading about it, and that was intentional. Like every idea that he had that didn't really warrant a movie on its own, he put it into an episode.
If he knew he had cancer when he was making this, it would have been interesting, because it's like, I'm just plugging in all of my subconscious thoughts into this movie, and the best way to describe it would be weird, disjointed dream sequences.
Yeah.
We need someone to read the book. Tell us how it relates.
I was thinking the same thing. When I found out afterwards that it was based off of a book, I thought, well, wow, none of that. How much did they leave out to make this movie? Because books typically have a lot of, I don't know, plot.
I didn't feel like that explained so much without having read the book, obviously. It's just like, oh, there needed to be more.
Yeah.
I think he took a lot of creative liberty, too, whenever he made a movie from a book. There was always some argument that he wanted to throw his taste in, like the connection between reality and not.
Her sucking up the Chairman Anui, that whole strange scene of her growing bigger. His dream is to rule over the dream world, and she is countering it by sucking it up.
That happened like right after she had an interaction with Dr. Tokita, where she's talking about how he's so big and how he can't not eat what's put in front of him, and how it's because he's like open to everything. And for me, when I saw that next scene and the fact that both of them were then gone, at first that was like, oh, is this their baby? What, or did they fuse? But then it turned out to be her, and I was wondering if maybe she was kind of channeling, like she had come to terms with her Paprika side by embracing and acknowledging her love for Tokita and who he is.
I agree. I thought that was a powerful scene. I didn't like the movie until the end, and that was one of those scenes that made me like this movie afterwards, because they flash back to the beginning scene. Chiba pulls Tokita out of the elevator that he's stuck in, and then they let the scene play longer where she says what you said, Darian, which is like, first off, she's just fat shaming him hard. But then you see that she finds it endearing, because it's like, I love your childlike side, even though you're criticized about it throughout the entire movie. Almost like, I wish I was as open as you are.
She says, it's not the outside that counts. However, you really have a lot on the outside.
That's the quote you chose?
That's what she says.
I like this one.
Just speaking to what Robin was saying about fat shaming, I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, you could have chosen any quote.
Have you guys ever sleptwalked?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened?
I can't remember the dream in great detail, but it was something about spiders and playing a game. I woke up in my sister's room, and apparently I was just like standing over her, telling her like, I don't want to play the games with the spiders.
Oh, God.
That's terrifying. I hate that.
Wow. That's like something out of a horror movie.
Yeah, that's creepy as fuck. You're the creepy girl in the horror movie. You need a Paprika in your life.
I do. Actually, related, when I was younger, and I had nightmares every night, somehow I would do the lucid dream thing. Like I would, this is so nerdy, but I'm on the right podcast for this. Like if I was in a bind, like there would be times where people are like shooting at me and I'm about to die or whatever. And I'd be like, if only I could earthbend right now. Right? Like that would be like my solution to these nightmares. I would whip out superpowers from various anime.
You know, there's
I'm so jealous.
There's a whole group of people that I've never heard of and never met and don't even know if they exist, but apparently people intentionally lucid dream.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever like tried to do it?
Yeah.
Did it work?
No. The short answer is no.
I think it takes a lot of practice.
I had a month in college when I was hanging out with you regularly, Jadrian, where what I heard the first step to learning how to lucid dream is every time you have a dream, you need to wake up and write down your dream.
Yeah.
And all the dreams in my life that I remember come from the time period where we were hanging out a lot, Jadrian, which I thought was
interesting.
funny. And so like you, Naomi, Julian feature in those dreams. And I have some, it's only got like 6 pages in it, but some dream journal out there where I have a lot of like writings about you guys. Nothing makes sense. Yeah. It's they're not particularly like fun or insightful dreams. It was just like, oh yeah, and then this happened. All my dreams involve being on some sort of compound where we're then attacked by like invaders of some sort, and I'm with like a ragtag group of whoever's in my life at that time, and we need to like find guns and fight our way out.
Sounds like Expendables.
Dude, it is. Yeah. And it's about as deep as Expendables too.
Okay, I'll tell you guys something. Don't judge me, but whenever I have a lucid dream, we might have to cut this part out.
Can't wait.
This is so bad. We're going to have to cut this out, but I'll tell you guys, whenever I have a lucid dream and I recognize that I'm having a lucid dream, I think, oh, fuck, I got to find someone to fuck in my dream.
Hell yeah.
Like, I know like it's going to be the best euphoric sex in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. It must be hard being a virgin, huh?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. If you realize you're dreaming, you got to do what you really want to do, Some people that's flying. Some people that's like fighting someone. For me, it's just straight up fucking.
Hell yeah, brother.
I appreciate your honesty.
I get sleep paralysis. I don't know if you guys have ever had that.
What is that?
I've woken up completely paralyzed many times in my life.
Do you get the visual of like a figure at the end of the bed? Sometimes they're like holding your ankles.
Yeah.
Sketch.
One time I was with my then girlfriend, now wife, and we were asleep and we were sleeping at my mom's house. So I remember waking up, but I can't move my body, which I'm kind of like well acquainted with at this point. So I'm like, all right, I'll just let this wear off. And I hear the front door open, which is down the hall from the bedroom I was sleeping in. So quickly in my mind, I just sort of go through a checklist of all the people who could be coming into the house in the middle of the night. And I realize that all the people who have access to the house are not even in the state. I glance over and my wife's asleep next to me. And then the door to my bedroom just goes,
no.
And it opens.
This is a horror story.
And then there's Darian. The spiders, the spiders.
The spiders. Yeah, the creepy child's in the house. The door slowly creaks open and there's a light coming from the hallway. And there's this giant wild-haired demon that is backlit in the door. And I jump up. And I'm still half asleep. I was just paralyzed a second ago. And I jump out of the bed and I start beating my chest. And I make this like war cry where I go, and I'm just beating my chest and I charge.
Hell yeah.
And that's when my wife screams because the demon in the doorway was actually her coming back from going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And she just screams and crumples to the floor.
You sound like the demon in this story.
That's the moral, Jadrian.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever you think is the demon, it's actually you.
How did she react? It's like, or how did you react when you came to?
Oh my God. I scooped up her bag of bones off the floor and was like, it's okay. They're there. Just go to bed. So yeah, she actually went to the bathroom, but I was completely convinced she was right next to me. And I saw a demon, and I'm very proud of myself because like you can say like, yeah, I'd start doing karate on the demon. I'd attack. I'd be the most badass. But in reality, you'd probably just scream and run away.
But you're a silverback gorilla, and this is your jungle.
Yeah.
Yes. In that moment, I became an orc and just started screaming and beating my chest and decided to charge the demon. So,
I love that is your base instinct. You tapped into something so primal. That is the core of you.
I think there was something deep in me of like, this is the only exit out of the room. So like, we got to go down fighting, motherfucker. So that's the coolest I've ever been. Was screaming at my wife at the top of my lungs in the middle of the night.
So when we were younger, like middle school, Jade, I don't remember at the time if it was a playlist or a disc of playing music, whatever.
A CD?
Yes, there we go. Anyways, moving on, a burnt one with your playlist. And I was obsessed with a couple of the songs, and one of them was the Paprika song. I'd never seen Paprika before, though.
I gave you this, or?
Yeah.
That's right.
I used to like daydream about like all these adventures through the forest, and then it started happening on the screen.
Yeah, I love that song. Weird. I saw the movie a long ass time ago. I didn't get it. But I was like, oh, that song's cool. That's going on one of the 12 songs on his burned disc.
That's fun, though, for Darian to just like hear that and suddenly be transported of like, oh my God, this is the song that's been eluding me for 20 years.
It's wild. It's not a song you hear very often on the radio.
No, it's not on Z100.
Alright, do you guys give it a baka?
Yeah, I'll give it a little baka. Two little baka.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what a baka is, but
you don't need to, it's fine.
Binary scoring system.
Yeah, 1 out of 1 bakas for me.
Darian?
I mean, you know my answer. I'm going to give it a baka.
Okay. Darian gives everything a baka. She is the easiest person to please when it comes to anime.
Dude, she moved from the phone to the big screen for this.
Right.
That's true commitment.
Yeah.
Also, all of the voice actors were Naruto in some way or other, so that's more reason to give a baka.
Interesting. They were
Dr.
Naruto.
Tokito was Sasuke, so.
Oh, actually, I did sound familiar. I thought maybe a voice of Ashitaka from Princess Mononoke was in here, but I couldn't quite tell. That's probably Sasuke that I was hearing.
Sasuke being Tokita is like the opposite of
It
Sasuke.
was really I figured it out really early, and it was just hard. It's hard to get past that.
Austin.
I don't know. I'm torn. I almost want to not give it a baka.
You gave it a baka?
I could give it a half baka. Yeah.
Nah, no baka.
I think no baka,
Yeah,
if only because I know that this director can make. Perfect Blue is a perfect movie. It's one of the most haunting films I've ever seen. And it has so much more on its mind, and it like delivers on those things. This, I don't know. It's beautiful. The animation is great. All the animators, I give bakas to all of them. I think they're all bakas. Every single one of them. Baka, baka, baka. But Satoshi Kon, no baka.
No baka.
Well, not
no
for this
baka
movie,
from Austin. All right. I'm going to give it a baka. I think it's just, when the music is just hitting and there's all these crazy, weird dream sequences and it just feels so good. I just like the feeling of it. But yeah, there's issues with it, but it's worth a watch.
Worth the watch.
Yeah.
Made me want to dream again.
That's such a sad thing to say.
You're going to have to stop smoking
stop toking.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I go out of my way to not dream, but this made me want to dream.
Because you don't want to play with spiders.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to say was even though Kanekawa, I think that's his name, the detective was like a relatively irrelevant character, and his side story of like realizing his trauma around movies was sad. I mean, was kind of like weird. That one really hit me because he sort of gave up on his creative dream to do, a more traditional route. And he sort of rediscovered that like, it's okay that he didn't do that. I thought that was the best part of the movie, to be honest. He was also my favorite character in the movie. I think partly because it, touches upon my life, but it was just sort of like, that was a really nice way to resolve that trauma of his, to accept that he's still happy with his life, even though he didn't follow the dream he had when he was 17.
Mm-hmm.
He was also my favorite character. And Liv and I were talking about how, like, we kind of almost wished that the movie had been from his perspective. Like, had it begun with him, this detective having these nightmares and it's keeping him from solving this case. He goes to this experimental company that has this product. Then we're introduced to the product through his eyes as he's kind of could be an audience surrogate. Rather than just like this like psychotic, like open with his dream and then we open to a bunch of scientists and one of them just starts blabbering and jumps out the window and then like it's really unclear how it all connects together. I really liked him as a character. I found him to be very likable.
Although it wouldn't have had the titular character, Paprika, Kanekawa could have been Paprika in this movie, and it probably would have been better if like the detective became the
connecting
spirit
thread.
guide or whatever. Yeah.
Like if he's the front half of the mullet and she's the back instead of Shiva. Like that's what we're thinking.
My main
Pretty
problem
much
is
put a mustache on Paprika and we would be good.
I was gonna say he's not hot enough. You got to have a hot girl
he's
traveling.
kind of a daddy
through dreams.
though.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Chiseled,
big daddy vibes. Oh yeah, yeah. No, good point. Good point.
Good point.
Yeah, after calling Kanekawa a daddy, I'm like, all right, I think it's time for me to go.
On that note.
Before we go, I forgot to like give a spoiler alert, so I'm just going to say that real quick now, and then we can cut it in later. Or Austin, do you want to do it? Because I don't want to do it right now.
What do you say? Spoiler alert?
So, because I didn't phrase it, I should have written it down.
So it's like If you haven't seen this movie before and you don't want to get it spoiled, pause the tape now and come back when you've seen it.
I think we should just put
Perfect.
spoiler alert on our page, and that's that.
Well, I'm hoping. Well, I want the episode to be accessible to someone who maybe will watch it, so they listen to part of it and then maybe come back to it. Trying to do a middle ground. My thing is
just like the whole thing's a spoiler. Like listening and learning about everything that happens up until the third act. Well, you're still spoiling the first 2 acts of the movie.
Yeah.
It just feels like a weird way to go about any kind of movie experience or book experience.
The reason I bring it up is because I was talking to David, my friend David, and he was trying to workshop with me like how we could approach talking about something without spoiling it, but I think it is kind of impossible. I don't know if there's necessarily a middle ground.
I'm sorry, does David have an anime podcast? Who's he to tell us how to do ours, huh?
Fair enough.
I'm just kidding, David.